Biggest plot twist of 2023, Max from Lizard of Doom has hair. Welcome back to Lizard of Doom. I am Max. This is the first time I am ever attempting object source lighting. I have never tried it before. I've never really had a need to on the miniature I'm painting, but I thought Anakin, that I've been painting over the last week, is perfect with this lightsaber. And I don't know why he's using the force behind him, but he is. Don't question it. So give me a little like for trying new things, and give me a subscribe if you'd like to see more new things. Thank you. Don't know why I was doing that. There's nothing up there. This is where we last saw Anakin, fully painted apart from the lightsaber. Obviously, we need to do something about that, so we've got our light source on the miniature. I've based it in white, so that'll give a nice bright result for the blue of this lightsaber. The two colours to paint this lightsaber, we'll be using are Lothern blue and White Star from Duncan Rose's Two Thin Coats. This is the best kind of colour match in blues I could find in my GW paints that I own for Anakin's lightsaber. It wasn't too garish because Anakin's lightsaber isn't like neon blue. It's just a nice light baby blue. So this boy is going to be our base, and then we'll be mixing it with this boy to make a mid, and then we'll be highlighting with just the white. I thinned this down to a nice layer consistency so I could build it up with a nice smooth coat. This went on very nicely, and the white undercoat really helped this colour with its brightness. Its pigmentation is a bit odd. I don't know if this is because of the age of the pot or because it's Games Workshop, and some Games Workshop paints can be a bit chalky, especially the lighter and white ones. That's why I use Duncan Rose's White Star instead of Games Workshop's White Scar. Now a lightsaber as my OSL choice is a bit difficult because lightsabers, if you look at them, are white. They are white and they emit the colour light that you're used to, the blues for the good guys, reds for the bad guys, greens, yellows, oranges, or purple, all of the above. So I've got to figure out how to represent this on the stick itself and not just make it white. Now, because lightsabers are hard to paint, we're going to have to kind of paint an optical illusion here. You can see it's all blue. We can't paint it all white, or it will read as white. We're going to have to put a line up the middle, and we're going to have to really make sure that this is the viewing angle that we want it to be at, because it can't wrap all the way around. That's a no-go. It will just look white. So this is the viewing angle I'm going for, as it's slightly upwards for tabletop viewing while I'm playing a game. The first thing I need to do is mix some white with our base of blue to make a nice mid-tone, because we're going to go for a glowing effect, so we need to build up to the bright white. This is not how lightsabers work. They seem to be white in the middle and just give off that blue light. But again, this is an optical illusion. We are going to have to make it look like that's what it's doing, because we can't paint the surrounding area. We can only paint the lightsaber itself. If we could have a little blue haze around it, that would be great. But until technology catches up, we're going to have to paint it all in one. I mixed this blue to a mid-tone between the blue and the white, which I was happy with, because we're only going to be doing one lot of this. We aren't going to be messing around with multiple blues. There we go. I used the side of my brush like an edge highlight to apply this in a thin line up the middle of the lightsaber from the viewing angle I had selected earlier. This was a bit chalky. This is where I should have seen the problems with my future OSL coming into play, but I didn't. But hindsight is 2020. The warning signs were there, Max. Why did you not listen? But as you can see, it works well for this. This is the viewing angle and slightly around it, so you can see that the front is a lot more glowy than the sides, but I've done something to help with the optical illusion. On the exact opposite side, I've also done another light blue line. It's quite hard to get a shot of, but it's there. These are on exact opposite sides, so you cannot see both at the same time. That is very important, otherwise it will break the illusion and make this lightsaber look stripy. We want it to look glowing, so the back and the front can never be viewed at the same time, but they are there, so no matter what angle you look at Anakin, you will see some glow. After this, we're going in with the straight white for the bright white of the centre of the lightsabers. A little bit of water to thin this down. Two thin coats, white and light paints, are much better quality than Games Workshop. Games Workshop knows how to make a good red and brown, but they struggle when it comes to blues, which is ironic because Space Marines. So the brighter the blue I find, the more chalky it is. Once I was happy with the consistency, I switched to a very, very thin brush, and we're going to be doing a little line up the middle of this. Test my line work here. There we go. Yes, happy, ready to go. Let's go with another little stroke of this brush. I'm not using the edge this time, I'm using the very point, because last time I used the edge like an edge highlight, but I would produce a line that is the same thickness as the light blue I'd put down before, so I had to use the tip on this one. Very fine brush control is needed, as you'll be putting a line within the line that you've put down on the layer before. Do not worry if you mess this step up. You can go back in with the previous colours and then fix little edges and make sure everything's straight and neat and nice. Once you have completed this step, you are left with this lovely lightsaber effect. Not seeing it go around the edges, look, you can't see the back one, and the front one looks perfectly like Anakin's lightsaber glowing in the middle. The back's a little hard to film, excuse my camera out of focus. You can see that it is there though, and you cannot see them both at the same time. Perfect optical illusion. Good job me, pat on the back, blow my own trumpet. The next thing I need to work on is the lighting on Anakin himself. So glowing from the lightsaber, it needs to splash on the nearest points of his face and his shoulder under here. This is daytime Anakin, so this won't be overbearing, this should only be light. Get it? Light. But this poses its own problems. I need to do this subtly. I've watched all the tutorial videos that YouTube has to offer, and I think I have a good idea of what to do. So I start thinning my blue to a glaze consistency. This is where everything's about to go wrong. I did not think about the chalkiness of this paint. I thought the consistency was good. I'm quite good at glazing. Check out this video in the corner, whabam, but it was about to go wrong. So, in theory, my hands just farted. You build up thin layers of pigment in very thin paint, and then you put more and more on the higher bits, so those bits then appear more blue or whatever colour that you're glazing. That's what should happen in theory. With paint like this, is it going to happen? No. No, it's not. I started to apply this glaze to Anakin's face first. I thought the consistency was good, so I'd go straight in across the side of his chops here where the lightsaber was closest, and also his hair too. I quickly realised this glaze wasn't glazing very well. I took more off my brush in vain to make sure it wasn't too watery, but all the pigment kept building up in the nooks and crannies like his ear and the folds in his hair. My brush was not too wet, like I said. I'm alright with glazing, but this was not good. I constantly fought to keep it out of his ear roll and put it on the higher surfaces, but it just wouldn't stay. I fought in vain against the leather and the chalkiness of the paint. It kept going in the cracks, and anytime it did actually end up on top of the leather or face in any place I wanted, it was all pigmenty in like little bits. It was all spotty, dusty and speckly. I then went into panic mode. I thought that I had ruined this model that I'd spent days working on. So off camera, I went into panic mode trying to save it, trying to build up the glaze properly, and I kind of did. It kind of worked, but the gradient was just all chalky and awful. It wasn't a smooth to blue up the folds of the fabric and stuff like that. It wasn't right. It wasn't right. I needed a hero. This paint is not good. This paint can absolutely go and eat my ass. Into the void. I do have a hero though. My saviour is Guilliman Blue Glaze, an out of production Games Workshop paint. I started by putting it in the recesses around the chalky blue that was ruining my model, and this started to smooth out all those speckly areas. This was my saviour. This had come to save this miniature from destruction, from bad painting by me. The model now had a smooth glaze. Unfortunately, it was way too dark. This looks like nighttime Anakin. There's not a lot I can do here, so I started to look into how I could save him after I had glazed everything with this dark blue. This dark blue out of production glaze had saved my model, but was I ruining it at the same time? I think this looks okay. This looks pretty good. I just need to come back in with some higher blue highlights on the bits that are meant to actually catch the light. Although Anakin is slowly turning into a Smurf from his left ear over, it does look like it's glowing. I've got to give it that. This is working a little bit. There we go. Normal face, Smurf face. Now Avatar Anakin is blue. I've got to figure out a way to save him. This glowing effect worked, I guess. So if you're struggling with your glaze looking a bit chunky and not smooth, put some darker colour of the OSL into the shadows of that area. The way I saved him was by glazing again. Yes, lots of glazes. Glazing in the base colours of the areas I turned blue over the edges of all the OSL, making sure it was a bit smoother and that the areas didn't look as dark and that it was definitely daytime Anakin. This is a before and after. Before on the left you can see it is very bright, and then on the right you can see it is nice and subtle. This is better. This is more realistic. A side shot, you can see, yep, very bright blue on the left and subtle on the right. Let me know in the comments if you think I've saved it or you preferred it before. I am happy with Anakin now. Anakin is done and it's time to do his base. This will be coming probably the video after next. I'll be catching his troops up and testing out the Army Painter Triad in the next video for the white armour of the clone troopers. I want to say thank you to my lovely patrons. You can see them on the top left now, and if you would like to join them, the link is up in the top right corner. And now, thank you all for watching. If you've made it this far, subscribe down there. I'm nearing 10k, which is bonkers, because about 2 months ago I did my 1k subscriber special and I was predicting that I'd be at 2,500 by this point. So if you can help me reach 10k, I would appreciate that. Thank you very much. Remember, it's not a pile of shame, it's a pile of future fun.